Welcome to the Bringing Intimacy Back show, where intimacy is real. If you desire to intimately connect with yourself, your significant other, children, family, friends, community, and higher power, this show is for you. We explore intimate topics, inspiring life stories, spirituality, and insightful tips on strengthening relationships. The show is hosted by Dr. April and her co-host, Coach K. Let's get this episode of the Bringing Intimacy Back show started. We share with you today the secret power to intimacy to create a life you love or love the life you create. Now, here's your host, Dr. April, and co-host, Coach K.
Welcome to the Bringing Intimacy Back show, where intimacy is real. How are you doing, Coach K?
I am doing great. I feel like I'm just now readjusting to life after an amazing weekend that we just had.
Yes. The Sex Down South was wonderful, but just meeting all the different people and also just learning all the different ways that people express themselves.
Absolutely. It's like it's been a week, but you're still kind of coming off of that high of seeing so many people that's open to learning sex and sexuality, just different personalities, the educational piece. It was just, and the fun and games, of course, too. And I got to meet you in person for the first time.
Which is great. Definitely. Yes. And I enjoyed meeting you and your family. So your partner. Yes. So that was wonderful. I feel like I'm just getting back into the groove of the fall. I know we're in the middle of September. Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm just starting back exercising and stuff. And so I'm really excited about today's topic of stay woke, because I don't know, I still feel like I'm in the summer mode of some sort.
Yeah, I went outside my husband saw this big old spider. So, I just ran outside. It was like 9:00 at night. And I was like, whoo, it's freezing cold. I needed a jacket. I was like, I'm not ready.
Yes. Yeah, I wouldn't even be outside sunny Florida here. We got so much sunshine and stuff. So, yeah. But us moving into this thing of staying woke and just being so in tune with ourselves and stuff. Because one thing about starting fall, it's just so busy.
Mm-hmm. It is. And it's busy, and it seems like people start to go inward with themselves a lot. You go into this almost shell because of you just head down and keep it moving.
Mm-hmm. Right. Versus really just appreciating yourself, connecting with your, others, and also with your spiritual power, and not, like you said, being so critical of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Very important.
Yeah, we all do that. I know I even did that this morning as I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't been exercising, and so learning how to be positive. And one of the great things that we are doing this month is honoring our nonprofit of activeminds.org. It's a nonprofit organization that brings that positivity of mental health awareness and education for our young people. So if you're out there and you're really struggling, check out activeminds.org. It's for ages 14 to 25.
That's awesome. I love that. I like the name, Active Minds. So important. We need active minds in that age range, honestly.
Definitely. And even in the sense of active minds, I know our topic is stay woke, but it's also, I'm so excited about it because it's not only just the mind, the spirit, and the body.
Yeah, all connection. It reminds me of a couple that I was working with last night in our mindfulness yoga. And even in the class that I did at Sex Down South, taking it from the mind to the hand to the heart, because I had them kind of touching each other, just that flow through. Minds are so powerful, and to keep it open and present means everything. It can change your life.
Right. And that's why it's so important that it has to be connected.
Connected to the right thing too.
Yes. In reality, it is always connected, but we're not aware.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. That's why I'm so excited about our guest today, because she is basically talking about that connection.
Mm, I cannot wait to hear all that she has to share.
Yes, yes, yes. So we're going to take a small break, but when we come back, we're going to talk with TeZa Lord, who's been in this field for a long time, and it's about connecting the body, mind, and spirit, and your partner.
Are you a business professional? Dr. April Brown's latest book is for you. Whether you are newly hired or managing a team of employees, her 30 intimacy-driven business principles will help you progress towards career success. Learn how to show up as your best self at work, what it means to cultivate a meaningful career, and how to avoid burnout, all while living up to your highest professional potential. Improving Intimacy, the book for business professionals, is available on Amazon in Kindle, Audible, and paperback. Search Dr. April Brown on Amazon to view all her books on improving intimacy for yourself, spouse, spirit, and more.
Welcome back to the Bringing Intimacy Show, where intimacy is real. Welcome, TeZa.
Well, hello.
Hey.
I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, we are so excited to have you here. You are really just an inspirational person who's done so many things, to connect the body, mind, spirit, and partner.
Well, I try to put a lot of positive out in the world. I call myself a spirit activist because there is so much negativity going on. There is so much angst, anxiety, confusion. We know. So we just keep it positive. It's not being in denial. It's just choosing correctly.
Right, right. I do think
Yeah.
it's been a positive, that also attracts positivity toward you.
Yeah, you're like a magnet.
Yes,
When
definitely.
you smile, the world smiles back. It sounds so corny, but it works.
Right, right. And so you have this big business, and in your business, introduce yourself and tell us how this is all connected to intimacy, because that's what our show is about.
Right. Well, intimacy is where it's at, because if we're not intimate, even with our own selves, we don't know ourselves. So it really begins with getting to know ourselves, getting to know that we can love ourselves, and then it's possible to love another, to be intimate with another, even our partners or our children or our best friends. I mean, many times, if we don't really know ourselves, then there's these barriers, and there's game playing, or there's uncomfortability, and you just don't feel like you're having this joyful interchange, which is really the state that we're allowed to experience. It's like a privilege of being born human. It comes with the package. It comes with the DNA.
I
So
like that.
I don't really think of myself as a business. I think of myself as a spirit contributor, and I'm not interested in whether or not success comes, or numbers come, or followers, or book sales and all that. But I put out because I feel, like if I was a religious person, which I'm not, I'm a spiritual person, I would feel that that was my mission.
Mhm.
But as a spiritual person, we have missions too. And to truly believe that love conquers fear, like there's a little bit of a war going on between the fearsome and the lovesomes. And so everybody who truly believes in the power of love, which begins with intimacy of ourselves, we have to be more active in the world. So it's not about business, it's about being active.
Being active. Wow. Yeah, I love how you put that. And I know, prior to the show, you said you're a lovecologist.
A loveologist. A
Yeah.
loveologist. Yeah, because my motto is love is the weapon of mass illumination. So what does that mean? That means that if everybody practice, first of all, self-love, that's a big hurdle for a lot of people. They look in the mirror and they say, ooh, ooh. So how can you love another? How can you love life? How can you love being in nature if you don't start with just being aware that you are perfect the way you are, even if you've gotten older, or gained weight. You said you're just starting exercise. I'm just getting over my first bout, and I hope only bout, of COVID, and you don't feel like exercising when you're sick.
Right.
So we have to be kind to ourselves.
Hmm.
So love is the motivating force of evolution. If we are in the state of love, we are not in fear. We are not angry. We are not in a negative state. We are in the state of love.
Right. And I know some people may have this question that, it's hard for them to love themselves because they've made in their mind mistakes A, B, and C.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I know. I was there.
Yeah. So how do you forgive yourself and love yourself to move on when you've made, all these different mistakes and that you think of?
Right. Well, in all my public talks and writings, I have 4 books out. I make it no secret. I am a recovering person, addict, alcoholic, you name it. Bad relationships, bad this, bad that. And I had a lot of forgiving of myself. And if you don't start with forgiving yourself for even having made bad choices earlier in life, bad marriages, sometimes people have children that with a person that they realize, what was I doing with this person? And got this beautiful child. Well, the child's not a mistake.
Right.
We made a mistake by being mated, but not really, because this consciousness, which I also call love, that permeates the world. Some people call it God, but I call it love, because love is also that magnificence. But who are we to say that these children that come through what we thought was a mistake, a marriage that didn't work out, some SOB that doesn't give us child support, whatever, but this child wanted to come through that union, so it wasn't a mistake. Yeah.
I like the way
I
you
believe
say that.
everything has a purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. That part right there really matters, and I think more people need to stick in with that thought process versus the other adult human being that that they're not so happy with. If not for that, you would not have this amazing child that
Right.
you now have to love and to guide, to be a different human being than what you are not so happy with.
Right. And the beautiful thing about intimacy, because of course we're talking about spirituality, intimacy is where you get spiritual, starting with yourself. When you're intimate with yourself, then you are able to have a spiritual life. But who's to say that that child who comes through what we might have said was a mistake, we're not with the husband anymore or wife, and or whatever, however you got that child these days, you have to be careful with the gender thing. But this child had a destiny. This child had to come forth. And if we can get our controlling everything out of the way, saying, oh, it was either a mistake or I really wanted that child, but get ourselves out of the way and just see that there's this force, this magnificent force of the universe that I call love. That has to come through us, because I think that that's our role as human beings, and that that's being in the flow.
Right. Well, one of the things that she mentioned is the word control.
Yeah, control.
Yes. How does that impact love and intimacy? And it's like you say, love is the weapon of mass illumination, control.
Right. So to have true intimacy, like let's just say between lovers, okay? Because if we're going to talk about sex eventually, I hope we get there.
We're going to talk about sex now. Go ahead.
You mean like you have to let go of control, and people who can't get out of control, they're basically just having lust. They're having fulfillment of some glandular urge that's about them. But when we get rid of that and we get rid of the control, that it's all about me, it's all about me, my satisfaction, and you let go of that control, then you elevate sex even. I mean, you bring it into this category called love, and it completely changes. It completely becomes magnificent, almost like a ritual, instead of just a glandular kind of, satisfaction. Am I getting too gross?
No. Yeah. I mean, Coach K may also relate. There's so many women or men who have a hard time letting go when it comes to sexual intimacy because they don't trust.
Right. Trust.
Yeah.
Trust. Well, if they can't do it with another human being, then they have to start with themselves.
Right.
So that's where it all begins. If they don't trust themselves, then how can they trust another person? The same as love. How can you truly love another person unless you love yourself? So it all begins, and it's not the selfish, narcissistic thing that people talk about, like, oh, that's so selfish to talk about loving yourself. No, it's just the opposite. Because when you embrace the fact that we are all divine essences that are in this human body, doesn't matter what shape or size or color or nationality or culture we're born in, this is the gift that we're given as a divine entity. Well, then we have to trust that we're something much bigger than we even can understand. It really is a matter of, it's a mystery. Life is a mystery. And when you want to tune into the magic, you have to say, wow, magic, come to me, and you don't know what it's going to take you. I don't know what form or anything, but to believe in magic, for instance, like if a magician is doing a trick up on stage, he's totally got us, the audience, in his, control in a way, but we trust him. And so we don't see that he's doing all these tricks, like, behind his back and all with the mirrors and sawing the lady in half. And it's all about, the fact that we trust him. And so he's pulling a magic trick off. So if we can trust ourselves, just imagine the magic that we can pull off with true intimacy, beginning with ourselves, truly loving ourselves.
Yeah. People who find it hard to trust others typically don't have trust for themselves. And when we can understand that and, just put that mirror in front of folks and say, hey, take a step back and find out where it is that you lost trust for yourself. What did you do that you felt was so bad that you no longer trust yourself with your own judgment? And you feel like, I'm going to be in a relationship with you. Let's work on that.
Yeah. Like, to be happy takes work. That's what it boils down to. And people don't realize that. They think, oh, I'll take a pill or I'll take a shot or a snort and I'll be happy. Well, no, that wears off. You may be happy for a few seconds, but the alchemy of chemicals is, you can't control happiness. But when you do the work and you look at, like you said, what happened to me? Where did I lose my trust? And for me, I lost my trust. I know specifically I lost my trust in humanity because I had some abuse in my childhood. And everything that I thought was safe and secure just came crashing down. And I was scared. I was scared of life. I didn't trust anybody. So for me, I had to build up from scratch. And I'm not just pontificating. I'm not just somebody who's saying, oh, it's really wonderful to be trusting. But I had to scratch and claw my way out of mistrust. And it's no fun to mistrust because you're in a constant state of fear. You constantly feel like people are going to, or even just one person has ulterior motives. They want to use you, abuse you, and just throw you away. And that's not what it is to be in a state of love. And the natural state, I truly believe, having been around a few revolutions of the sun, is the state of love. Just like a little baby coming into this world. You don't see babies like, born with scowls on their faces. They're all like, wow, what is this magical thing you brought me into?
Right. And you're also trusting.
Yeah.
So like you were saying, the fear, when we have so much fear, we sometimes become very controlling.
Exactly. That's what the control comes from, because we're in the state of fear.
Right. And so that is really something that we have to address right away.
And to admit it is the first step.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is hard to do, because we have pride and all this other stuff. Yes. I'm going to think anyone who's out there listening, and if you want to join in the conversation, please do so in the chat things. And thanks, QB Canals, for out there saying hello. but yes, that fear. So, and I know you've written quite a few books.
Mm-hmm. They're nonfiction narratives. I have 4 out. One of them actually is art. It's a beautiful verse and vision, a meditative kind of guide, which was my manifesto, where I came up with my theme of love as the weapon of mass illumination. And I have 3 nonfiction narratives. One of them, the first, deals with teaching girls in prison, young teenagers. You talk about your active minds. These were imprisoned juveniles, gang girls, drug girls, bad girls. I was one of them once. So I felt I needed to help them. And I taught them how to get out of the state of fear and into love. And that book is called In the I, like me, myself, and I. Just trusting the I, trusting that it's okay. And the second one is called Zen Love. And that is the story about how to trust and to be part of a blended family. Take on the responsibility of brokenness, and heal it with love, and heal it with trust.
And that is, yeah, I was just saying that both of those things are great. And so many of our listeners or people out there are in blended families. I mean, very few families today are just traditional, whatever people used to. Yeah. Yeah. So how do you trust yourself when you're in this blended family?
Right. Because to me, the whole world is one big blended family. Like, the book actually is a microcosm of what's happening in the whole planet. We are no longer these separate, entities, Americans or even black and white. We're all blending. And so let's just say that, we are evolving. I believe, and that's the third book going into the third nonfiction. It's called Hybrid Vigor. We are blending into a better, more spiritualized form of Homo sapiens. We're no longer Homo sapiens. We are not just being. We are Homo spiritus. We are embracing our spirit.
Ooh, yeah.
3 books are all like an elevation. You go the person, the family, and then what's happening with humanity. It's like a step by step.
Right. That first book, I was just even the sense of gangs, many times those are individuals who are hurt, who create a family through these gangs.
Sure. Yeah. Or
People.
even in the bar, the local bar, or the local, wherever you get high. Those are family. It's because your family of origin was just somehow unacceptable or too judging or not there. So you're looking for family. Everybody wants to be part of a family. So the gang girls, but unfortunately, the gang people, they're mostly into drugs and mischief. So it ends up with them being in juvenile detention, the teenagers.
Right.
And I was teaching them these techniques, yoga and meditation mainly. I'm a lifelong yoga and meditation person. And I teach as many people as I can those techniques, beginning with breath and just getting high off of, stilling your mind and getting into your breath. And when these girls who are used to drugs and stealing cars and acting out with, their homies, when they started like feeling the breath, they said, what is that? And they were like blown away. They said, what's happening? What is that? I said, it's called oxygen.
Crazy enough, as simple as that sounds, breath work and breathing, the reminder of it, like literally every couples class that I start, we start with breathing, talking about what it is, and that's how we end, because you'd be surprised at how many people forget to breathe.
Exactly.
And they deprive themselves. And you can become angry almost and resentful when you forget to breathe.
You're in a state of panic when you forget to breathe. Like it's a natural reflux. That means that you're in a state of fear if you're not breathing comfortably. Yeah. Well, great. I wish you were my coach when I needed you. I mean, and breath, it's the secret. It's the secret bridge between our lower way of being human into our higher way of being. Because when we are consciously focused on the breath, then we're like focusing. and we're becoming automatically mindful because you have to focus on the breath, and it stills the craziness, it stills all the worries, and it calms us down.
Mm, yeah. I was just thinking how pure that is. And then also, I wanted to ask you, because you're doing all these books, but you also have a beautiful gallery. And
Yeah,
how
thank
does
you.
art,
Thank you for mentioning that.
yeah, all of this. Yeah, when you feel so lost, but you can look at a piece of art and just completely take it in.
Right. The creativity energy is so connected with our sexuality.
Yes.
Because- and because let's face it, the purpose of sex in many ways is to procreate. It's to procreate, to
Mm.
keep the species going. And it's we humans who use it as entertainment, or in some cases,
Right. And TeZa, I was just thinking, it is for procreation, but not every time we have sex, it is to create, to create babies.
yeah.
But what you're also saying, it's procreation because it's creating, helping us to be creative.
Yes, it's the creative urge. And so, like myself as an artist, I can pick up a pencil or crayon or something and I can make something. I say, oh, I created something. But it's, like talking about the girls who are in lockup, all of them want babies, all of them, because that's a force that comes through us that says, I want to create something in this world. And if a girl, especially a girl, because she's the one who can carry the baby, if she doesn't have the knowledge that she can become anything she wants, she can be a professor, she can be the president of the United States, she can be a scientist, she can be a gardener, she can be a yoga teacher. But a lot of those girls don't know that, who end up in juvenile detention, and they all think, I want me a baby. But most of them have them already. They're 15 years old, and some of
Yes.
them are on their second baby,
Right.
because they all want to create. So that urge of creating is such a strong thing. And that also is tied in with our spirituality. It's exactly coming from the same source of energy in terms of my tradition, which is the yogic scriptural tradition. And I talk about that in our most recent podcast on Zen Lord podcast, the sex and spirituality connection.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. And even like you were saying, just about the creative part of art is wonderful. Yeah. And when you bring, the spirit in, it's even at a higher level.
Yeah, because everybody wants to create something. I mean, it's just the natural thing, all of us, whether it's making cupcakes or a guy making a killing in the stock market, or getting his car new tires. It's the urge to create is part of our being. And that's why our sexuality is so tied into our creativity and our spirituality. All those three energies: sexuality, spirituality, and creativity, they are all connected.
Hmm. Yeah, but definitely, thanks, QB Canals, for saying how deep breaths really help, and how that even helps is when you take a deep breath and you breathe out, you slow down that mind.
Yeah, even one round of breath, like if somebody's having a panic attack, for instance,
Right.
if they could just remember, oh, breath, breath. And so for one round, they breathe in and they breathe out. And that changes everything.
Hmm.
It does. I was at a wedding expo recently, and I've done this several times whenever I see somebody who kind of is in that place. But about 3 weeks ago, was a young lady walking into the wedding expo, and I was a vendor, and you just can see on her face her eyes was just saying, "Help me."
Mm.
Not as if somebody was after me, but something internally was just saying, "Help me." And
Mm-hmm.
so I just felt whatever she was calling out. I walked up to her and I just, made sure, are you okay if I touch you? And she said, yes. And so I just put my mouth close to her ear and I said, just breathe with me. Okay. And I just had her to breathe in and out. The tears just start flowing. I said, whatever it is needed to come out of you, you're going to be just fine. And I just kept my hand on her shoulder, see, just for that comfort. And I kept my voice low, and we just talked, and just I breathed her through. And she said, you know what? I'm going to turn off my phone, because whatever text she got is what brought her to that place. She said, I'm going to turn off my phone, and I'm just going to enjoy my time here. I said, you are just fine.
That's
She
beautiful.
wiped her face, and she went on about her day. So those breaths, those cleansing breaths, sometimes go in, pull things out of you. You know, you breathe in what you want, and you just exhale what you don't. And it sounds simple, but sometimes you have to be reminded of that.
Yeah, people think life is way more complicated than it really is. And just the fact that this was a stranger and you were intimate with her, just instantly, not even having to know her name, not knowing what her motive was, having that intimate connection that is just so beautiful. Just the world would be so different if we could just be courageous and all felt that intimately connected without having the barriers, or like, what does this person want from me? Because we're filled with fears, and we're indoctrinated by it. A lot of it has to do with our upbringing, the cultural mores of the old schools, which are, thank God, being wiped out little by little. The world is becoming the global blended family that I feel very strongly we're already past the tipping point. It's not maybe, it's like more and more of us. Yeah, you said you were at this workshop recently. To be involved with a huge group of people who have the same mentality happens so often in this world today.
Yes, wow. TeZa Lord, thank you so much for bringing on to us and enlighten us about all your concepts, and also just that importance of what we're talking about, to the title of Stay Woke. If we're really connected and we're awake and we're breathing, how we're all, that slows us down, we are all connected. Yes.
Because we are all connected. Thanks so much.
Yes. So if people are out there listening and they want to connect with you,
well, they can come to my mothership, my website, and let's blast off together. It's TeZa Lord with a Z, TeZa Lord. What a great last name, huh? I loved marrying my husband 31 years ago. Yes, I'll be a Lord. I can smooth. And be sure to sign up for my Army of the Love of Light. And that's my email list.
Awesome. Yes, you've been a pleasure to have on our show today. And thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Blessings.
Blessings to you. We'll take a break and we'll be back in a moment.
To reignite the passion, the desire in your relationship, Vacation Counseling is just for you. We are deeply committed to your success as a couple. Our couples counseling retreats are exclusive, effective, and intimate. At Vacation Counseling, you will benefit from a combination of couples counseling, intimacy counseling, and individual counseling while you and your partner enjoy a relaxing vacation in sunny Southwest Florida. If you are interested in vacation counseling, please visit us at vacationcounseling.com for more information on prices and packages.
Welcome back to the Bringing Intimacy Show, where intimacy is real. Well, that was just such a wonderful, TeZa is just so spiritual, and her talks about the connection and breathing.
Yeah, and you can feel that, you can feel her just energy, like that lightness through the screen almost. So that's always a very good thing.
Right. And I loved that she also talked about creativity, and you could see that in her artwork and also all the stuff that she does.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So super exciting show, super uplifting show. And we have even more amazing shows coming up in the coming weeks. Super excited about that. And every time I look at these shows, I'm like, oh my gosh, the end of the month is right there. So on next week, the 22nd of September, we have Tracy Owen with 7 different realms of relational intimacy. On September the 29th, we have Alan Carl with What Would You Risk to Unleash Your Passion and Follow Your Dream? On October the 6th, we have DV Passion with Non-Traditional Relationships. And she is a sexpert. I'm super excited about DV Passion coming on. And then on October the 13th, I have Dr. Ray and Jean with Emotional Echoes and the Stages of Vulnerability. Great shows coming up. And before we head out, just speaking of the breath work that we were just talking about, I do the self-care Sundays, twice a month. And it didn't even dawn on me that this Sunday, for our self-care Sunday, we have Dory, who's coming in to do breath work with the ladies. So it's like, this is all like confirmation. So it's just super excited. Last time she was here and did with the essential oils and breathing, it's such an enlightening experience.
Yes. If people are out there listening, where can they get that information?
Oh, absolutely. You can head over to loveandintimacy101.com, or literally, if you search any platform, Coach K 101, COACHKAY 101, message me about Self-Care Sundays. It's twice every month in person. If you're in the Richmond, Virginia area or close by, I have amazing people that come in to help us to understand what self-care is, what it looks like, and different ways to experience it.
Right, definitely. And I'm so glad that we did talk about breath work, because that's really important in sex.
Yes.
Sometimes people don't realize the importance of breathing, how that even impacts your level of ejaculation or orgasms. If you learn how to just breathe.
Yes.
Then it also slows down your mind to
Mm-hmm.
truly be present, and then in your interactions with people. And as TeZa was saying, also in the interaction, I think if we were as a culture breathing more, we'd be more connected. Instead of
staying out of that fear state, that panic state.
Right, or trying to control everything, So this has been a great show. Yes, if you're listening and you want more information, definitely check out TeZa Lord at www.tezalord.com. And we love if you give us feedback on today's show or any other shows, or if you have any questions. And we will see you back next week. And this has been the Bringing Intimacy Back show, where intimacy is real.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of Bringing Intimacy Back, where intimacy is real. You can also find us at bringingintimacyback.com, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Dr. April Brown's 7-book series, Improving Intimacy, is now on Amazon. We'll see you next Thursday at 3:30 p.m. Don't forget to follow, share, and subscribe.